Welcome and strategic insight from the Center of Leadership and Diplomacy. Today we're going to talk about the 10 diseases striking the world and its nations. Today we are not facing a list of fleeting challenges, but rather 10 diseases that are ravaging the world and threatening the security of nations, the stability of peoples, and the future of humanity. These diseases leave scars in geography, politics, economics, and the human conscience. From poverty that crushes dignity and corruption that devours nations from within, to conflicts and wars that ignite devastation, terrorism that spreads fear, and a nuclear arms race that threatens to bring the world back to the brink of disaster. At the heart of this grim landscape, deeper wounds emerge when children are violated, the vulnerable are trampled upon, and societies are torn apart under the weight of hatred and exploitation. These diseases are not isolated events. Rather, they are indicators of humanity's urgent need for a courageous stand that reorders priorities and protects humanity before the land and the economy. The first disease is the poverty, which means a major global challenge. In 2024, the number of people living in extreme poverty, less than $2.15 a day, was estimated at around 839 million, or about 10.3% of the world's population. Progress in reducing poverty has slowed sharply in recent years due to the effect of the COVID-19 pandemic and the slowdown in economic growth. In fact, poverty rates in low-income countries are now higher than they were before the pandemic. Number two, infectious diseases continue to threaten human health on a global scale. For example, the COVID-19 pandemic causes more than about 7.1 million deaths worldwide by the end of 2025. Endemic diseases also claim millions of lives annually. Tuberculosis, TB, alone caused the deaths of approximately 1.6 million people in 2021. Malaria caused deaths of approximately 608,000 people in 2022. Despite efforts to promote a vaccination and improve public health system, serious outbreaks such as Ebola and cholera still appear periodically, revealing persistent weaknesses in the world's ability to combat infectious diseases. Number three, environmental degradation. The world is experiencing, up to this moment, accelerated environmental degradation, most notably manifested in climate change and biodiversity loss. In 2023, in fact, it saw one of the highest average temperature ever recorded, rising by approximately 1.45 degrees centigrade above pre-industrial levels. Global carbon dioxide emissions also reached a record high of 36.8 billion tons in 2022, worsening global warming. In addition, deforestation continues at an alarming rate. The average rate of deforestation was estimated at around 10 million hectares per year in the second half of the last decade. Number four, the interstate conflict, which in fact have intensified in recent years, threatening global security and stability. For example, the ongoing Russian-Ukrainian war, which began in 2022, has led to the worst humanitarian refugee crisis in Europe since World War II, with more than about 5.7 million Ukrainians expected to have fled their country by 2025. This was also contributed to raising global military spending to an unprecedented level of $2.24 trillion in 2022. geopolitical tensions have escalated in other regions, such as East Asia, promoting many countries to strengthen their armaments and mobilize their forces. At the top now, of course, is the conflict between Iran, USA, and Israel, and the global energy crisis. These interstate conflicts destabilize the international community and increase the risk of wider conflicts. Number 5, civil wars. Many countries suffer from ongoing internal conflicts and civil wars. The year 2024 saw a record of 61 active armed conflicts in 36 countries worldwide. This is the highest number since the end of World War II. These civil wars leave behind enormous human losses. The total number of forcibly displaced people worldwide reached an unprecedented 110 million by mid-2023, primarily due to conflict and acts of violence from Syria, Sudan, Yemen, to parts of Africa. Civil wars cause, in fact, immense economic and social devastation and create intractable humanitarian crises in affected areas. Number 6, genocide. Despite the never again slogan following the atrocities of the 20th century, genocide and other horrific crimes continue to occur in the modern era, albeit at a slower pace. The world witnessed the horrific Rwanda genocide in 1994, in which approximately 800,000 people were killed in only 100 days. Other regions have experienced widespread massacres, such as Darfur in Sudan, where hundreds of thousands of civilians were killed in the early 2000s. The Myanmar military launched a campaign of ethnic cleansing against the Rohingya Muslim minority, resulting in the deaths of thousands and the displacement of over 700,000 Rohingya to Bangladesh. Gaza and Al-Fashir in Sudan are current examples. Number 7, pedophilia and other diabolical acts. Child sexual exploitation and abuse crimes represent one of the most heinous social diseases spreading globally. The United Nations estimates that about 1/5 of girls, 1 in 5, and about 1/7 of boys, 1 in 7, worldwide have experienced some form of sexual violence during their childhood. In the digital age, exploitation has taken on a disputing new dimension. More than 32 million suspected cases of online child exploitation were reported in 2022 alone. This huge number represents millions of child victims and reflects the horrific spread of exploitative content on the web. Approximately 88 million images and videos of child exploitation were in fact detected that year. We are not going to talk about Epstein issues because it's very famous. Number 8, nuclear proliferation. Despite the international efforts to curb the spread of nuclear weapons, the risk of nuclear proliferation remains present and is even growing with emergence of a new arms race among major powers. There are currently 9 known countries possessing nuclear weapons with a total estimated arsenal of approximately 12,241 warheads by January 25. Number 9, national economic crimes such as the corruption. Economic crimes, in fact, at the national level, such as corruption, fraud, and financial manipulation, cause serious harm to national economies and undermine public trust in institutions. World Bank data estimates that the cost of corruption consumes more than 2.6 trillion annually, equivalent to 5% of global GDP. In 2023 Corruption Perceptions Index also reveals that more than 2/3 of countries in the world, approximately 68%, score below 50 on a scale of 100, indicating that corruption is rampant in the majority of nations. Number 10, weak public trust government institutions. In fact, public trust in government institutions is experiencing a notable decline in many countries around the world. In 2023, Edelman Trust Barometer, covering about 28 countries, the average level of trust in national governments was only 51% globally, compared to approximately 62% for the business sector. Governments were described as distrusted institutions. Trust below was 50% in 16 of the 28 countries surveyed, including major democracies such as the United States. The rate was 42% trust in the government, 37% in the United Kingdom, 33% in Japan. The causes of declining trust stem from widespread corruption, weak performance, and lack of institutional transparency, as well as the flood of misinformation and the general sense of mismanagement of a crisis in recent years. As a conclusion, we have reviewed the 10 most dangerous diseases affecting our world today, not as scattered events, but as an interconnected web of threats reshaping the present of nations and the future of generations. These political, economic, and social epidemics are not an inevitable fate, but the result of human choices that can be changed if the world possesses the courage, the vision, and the will to do so. Confronting these dangers is a battle of values, governance, and administration, one that requires, in fact, strong states, honest institutions, aware peoples, and sincere international alliances. Recognizing these dangers is not enough. What is required is political will, strategic wisdom, and the awakening of a global conscience that restores balance to nations, confidence to people, and a moral compass to the world that has lost its way amid the noise of power and the clash of interests. Thank you for listening, and all sources are listed below. Thank you.